Imagine the vast steppe of Mongolia, endless horizons where the wind sweeps across the grasslands, carrying whispers of nomadic tribes whose lives were simple yet harsh. It was here that a boy would grow into a man whose name would echo across the continents, a man celebrated as a conqueror, a hero of history. His horsemen swept across lands far and wide, and chroniclers, many years later, would describe feats of strategy, courage, and unification. History remembers the banners, the battles, the triumphs. It does not remember the lives shattered, the families torn apart, the silent suffering of those who were caught in the tide of conquest. This is not a story of strategy or victory. This is a story of those left invisible by history, particularly the women who were swept into the empire not by choice, but by the necessity of power. To understand these events, one must understand the world as it was. Steppe life was harsh. Survival was governed by rules that seem foreign to us today. Power was absolute, law often equated with the will of the strongest, and society operated through alliances, loyalties, and obligations. Women had roles defined largely by family, clan, and utility. Their existence, though central to the survival of tribes, was often mediated by the men who wielded authority. In this context, a conqueror's expansion was not only measured in land or treasure, but also in the people who were absorbed into his empire, among them countless women and girls who were relocated, married, or enslaved as part of political and military strategy. This was not cruelty by accident. It was a system shaped by the values and necessities of its era. Genghis Khan rose from obscurity to unite the Mongol tribes under one banner. In his hands, power was not a tool, it was the environment itself. His word became law, and obedience was demanded without question. To oppose him, even within one's own family, was not merely dangerous, it was impossible. In this structure, women were often considered vessels of alliance, symbols of submission, or instruments of strategy. The crown granted freedom to a few and control over countless others. Women were everywhere in the empire, yet rarely seen by history. They cooked, worked, raised children, and sustained daily life while remaining absent from chronicles. When cities fell, women were not counted among the dead. They were counted among what remained. Many were taken far from their homelands, their names forgotten, their past erased. Marriage was rarely a personal choice. It was a political instrument, binding clans, rewarding loyalty, and asserting dominance. For many women, survival itself became an act of endurance rather than hope. Their stories were rarely written, and when they were reduced to footnotes. The imperial harem was not merely a private space. It was an institution of power, structured to serve lineage and control. Many women came from conquered lands. Their bodies were expected to secure heirs and extend imperial influence. Choice was rare. Silence ensured survival. Within the values of the era, this system was accepted, and their names slowly disappeared from history. Children born within the empire did not choose their origins. From birth, their lives were shaped by lineage and power. Some were raised as heirs, others were raised as instruments of alliance or exchange. Empires do not vanish without traces. Laws, customs, and bloodlines endure beyond conquest. Women passed their experiences through fragments, gestures, warnings, and unspoken memory. Silence itself became inheritance. Trauma moved quietly across generations. History speaks loudly of power, conquest, and legacy. Between the lines lives without names, stories without records. Remembering them does not change the past, but it changes how we listen.